Here in Chattanooga, the Clarence T. Observatory, part of our campus, the University of Tennessee at Chattanooga, hosts star parties during the fall and spring semesters at UTC. In recent years, the observatory has seen a few upgrades, as we hear in the third and final part of a podcast series produced by Miller Richardson, a student in UTC's Department of Communication, as an intern for Scenic Roots here on WUTC.
Today I'm joined by Stephen Klein. Stephen is a UTC academic advisor as well as the planetarium director for UTC's Clarence T. Jones Observatory. Stephen, could you tell me a little bit about your role as planetarium director?
I run the planetarium shows on our Sunday night star parties, something that is a bit newer for us. So in the summer of 2023, we got a new projector system in the planetarium. So basically since that point, I have been the planetarium director, kind of doing different shows. So the new system we got let us have a lot more variety in what we do on Sunday nights in the planetarium. With our old system, it really was just a pinhole projector. It was very cool, a very nice old piece of tech that we had for a while, but the variety of shows was very limited since really all you could do is just project stars, which cool, and there's a lot to talk about when it comes to constellations, but the new system allows us to have a lot more creativity, show videos, images, kind of really dive into things beyond just constellations. So in addition to like giving the planetarium shows, a lot of it is also kind of figuring out what we want to talk about on a given Sunday night. We have the lecture component with the observatory as well on those star party nights, so working with the speaker to see what I can do in the planetarium that will help supplement their talk in the lecture hall. So there's a bit of a cohesive experience there.
The planetarium did get a new projector. Was this given to the planetarium through fundraising?
It was not fundraising, it was just extra funds at the end of the fiscal year that fortunately we were lucky enough to kind of receive that boon. So it was just kind of a right place, right time sort of scenario. I believe at end of the fiscal year, there was some surplus there that fortunately we were able to get that projector system, and that's been a huge game changer for us.
Could you describe to me a planetarium show?
There's a projector of some sort. So like I mentioned with ours, it kind of is just a projector with a fisheye lens. So any planetarium you go to is going to have something that's projecting stars, different images, video, kind of depends on how fancy of a place you go to. So the planetarium, in terms of the addition to the building, was added in 1958. So back then, if you showed up, like I mentioned, it was a pinhole projector where you had a bulb inside and it would shine just light through those pinholes and project the stars. Baseline, you go to a planetarium to look at the stars and a projection of them. Most modern planetariums have a system similar to ours, maybe a different brand or whatever. You're going to still see the stars projected in some capacity, kind of be able to look at constellations, have those different things pulled up. Most modern ones are going to have some sort of video component. There's a variety of videos, so we have a lot of full dome videos that we show in our planetarium shows that are meant for that. In a planetarium, you have a dome-shaped ceiling that things are being projected onto. Those full dome experiences are kind of like an all-encompassing around you sort of video. So things are happening behind you, in front of you. It's a very cool immersive experience.
Now, with your role as planetarium director, how do you choose what to show each night, and how do you match that to the lecture that's being given?
Some topics are much easier than others. Basically, at the start of a semester, we send out just kind of feelers to people who have spoke before at the observatory in terms of lectures. So across departments, we've asked to reach out to like music and other different departments to kind of get a bit more variety in who's coming out and talking. And then once we figure out who's going to be speaking and kind of an idea of what they're going to be presenting on, I will use that as just kind of a baseline info and just kind of see, okay, is this a topic that's fairly straightforward? Jack Pitkin, the former director, he always gives a talk kind of on different telescopes. So that's a very natural one for me to, I'll show things about the Webb telescope, the Hubble, we'll show some images each has taken. Those are very simple to work with. If it's something a bit more intricate, so I mentioned music earlier, we actually had Michael Standard from the studio give a presentation on music and just kind of different orchestrations, symphonies, whatever, that have tied into space, just in terms of the planets, his Symphony of the Planets, versus like modern things like Star Wars and more modern composition, stuff like that. In the planetarium, it's kind of finding things that can supplement that without being redundant. So in that case, there's this technique called data sonification where you just put sound to data, and it kind of makes it a very musical experience of looking at this photo, but also how different bright spots on the photo have different volumes of pitch and things like that. So it's to kind of find a way to tie it in. So it comes down to finding those points for connection with a show. So figuring out what exactly I want to present in there that supplements it, and then just digging around in what's out there in terms of available content. There's a lot of full dome videos that are already made. There's a lot of things that NASA's put out that are great. There's tons of high-res imagery that's very easy to project there, and the system lets us just upload any JPEG, PNG, MP4, MOV, whatever file. It's pretty flexible in what we can put in there.
Well, Stephen, thank you so much for coming out and giving us a little bit more insight on the planetarium at the observatory and your role as planetarium director.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. For more information about the Clarence T. Jones Observatory or the planetarium, you can head to utc.edu and search Clarence T. Jones Observatory, or search Clarence T. Jones Observatory on Facebook and Instagram.
Thanks, Miller. This Friday, the Jones Observatory celebrates the summer solstice from 10 a.m. to noon with planetarium shows every half hour. Details on the observatory's Facebook page.